What is going on, people of the world? This is Mike Doyle from Drive80.com, and welcome to the Drive80 Unnamed Podcast. Here we answer the question, how do I market with video? Basically, you probably have a lot of video, just spend a lot of money on getting that video for your company. So now what? What exactly do you do with it? This is the number one question I hear all the time from clients, marketing directors, business owners, basically anyone with video. So I decided to interview experts out there and see how they've used video to help their clients get business. In this episode, we talked to the Sarah Moore from 11 Lights Media down in Australia. Sarah is huge on social media. She's really smart, has a lot of great strategies. She's starting to explode. She does a lot of speaking engagements. In this episode, we discuss a few things like why it's not enough to just write blog posts, why brick and mortar businesses should start using video, what time of day to target your audience, and a bunch more. And we also talk about different platforms to use video on, like Instagram and, other good stuff. So before we begin, I was 100% sure what I was doing when I recorded this episode. So you'll hear things like I'm saying it's a video podcast. There's some really quick cuts in here because I really wanted to keep this under 30 minutes, even though I failed. But I hope to make these a lot better in the future. This is the Drive80 Unnamed Podcast, Episode 1 with the Sarah Moore. So let's dive in. So Sarah's awesome at this. She does a lot of video content. She lives on social media. She is all over the place. So I'll let her introduce herself really quickly before I, just keep talking. And then we're just going to dive in. Keep this to 30 minutes or less. And Sarah, please tell us about yourself.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. So I am Sarah Moore, otherwise known as the Sarah Moore, online in various spaces. I do have a social media agency called 11 Lights Media, and we predominantly focus on video first, social. So what that means is that we pretty much all of my clients I work with, we either produce their video content for them or we at least advise heavily in that direction. So pretty much the majority of my clients, they create video content at some level because we believe it's the way forward and into the future. And if you're not doing that, you're going to fall behind with things like virtual reality and augmented reality and things like that. So this is really just a stepping stone in that direction. There's data to back why I've pushed the agency in that direction as well, but I'm not going to bore you with it. If you want to ask me, Thanks. You can hit me up privately. So that's what I do, and that's my light board. It does light up, and I think that's really kind of it for an intro.
Great. See you later. We're done. So Sarah gives a lot of content. She gives a lot of value to people, but she also talks to people. And one of the things she does is she has videos that she puts out about giving people advice. And I saw saw one of your videos, and it was talking about how Google was talking about where video was going in like 2017. And you started talking about that. So I want you to kind of just touch on that a little bit on what you saw that they were saying, just to kind of prove to people or teach people why video is so effective.
Yeah, so when I gave out that stat, when I keynoted a lot last year, that was my stat that I threw out. So basically it was by 2017, which we're now in, 79% of all traffic is going to be video traffic in Google. So all search results are going to basically return video. What does that mean? Does that mean like when I'm searching in just regular search does that mean video is going to be mixed in with the other searches, or is it going to go right to the video section instead of the search section? It's basically going to be prioritized. Like when you go to Google now, like if you type in how to knit, the first things that come up are going to be video results. So I have heard different stats since, but they're all bigger than the one that I've given. So even if you're like, I'm not sure about that, I think Cisco said 80% or 81%, something like that. And I've seen a few other stats flying around about basically how much the search results are going to return video. So again, it's the beginning of 2017. I don't know if it's at 79%, But the fact that these really big players in the internet space are making these predictions and saying these things, I think it's something worth listening to. And remembering as well that YouTube is the second largest search engine. It's a video search engine, and it's also married to Google. So if you're SEOing your videos right and that kind of thing, of course it's going to show up in Google. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but the reality is that everything's moving that way. And so it's not enough just to be writing blog content anymore. We need to be thinking visual, because that's what people are wanting. That's what people are watching. And that's where the attention is.
So, like, I am kind of fearful about giving statistics when I'm doing, like, an email campaign. You know, when I email someone and I do cold email, I'm like, hey, did you know Google, did you know that video is blah, 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 and 81% this is? Because I feel like I'm just throwing crap at them. I want to give them things that I have done and say, like, my client had this issue, and we saw this increase, and this is like effective to you. And it's either like there was this much more engagement, this was much more likes, this much more views, this more shares. Like, out of statistics, like for you and your clients, have you seen something where that you've taken a statistic that exists and you've seen it in real life with things you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everything's anecdotal at some level. But I know even when I started creating my own video content, I mean, if anyone here goes and looks me up online, I haven't done anything in months. And the good news about that is just because my business is so freaking busy that I just don't have time to create my own content. But it's also, I need to be more consistent because I actually really enjoy creating content. That aside, when I was doing it consistently. I was seeing, you know, I don't have a big Facebook page. You can see that. I think there's about 600 people on it now, maybe 700 if I'm lucky. But, you know, I was seeing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000% reach on these videos that I was doing. I think I don't know if you remember when I did this, Mike, but I averaged the amount of shares that I was getting per video.
Yeah.
And I think the number from memory, this was a little while ago, so forgive me. I think that the number from memory was 14 shares a video.
That's crazy, man. Like that's crazy.
I don't ask. I do not ask for the share.
Really?
I never go like behind closed doors and say, "Can you please share this for me?" Or I never ask. It's just people doing it organically. And
so here's a question with that: like when they're sharing it, like have you noticed that there's a certain topic you've talked about, or like a certain person who's sharing it? Like, do you know who they are? Do you not know who they are? And you're like, "Holy crap! How did you see this? Why are you sharing this right now?"
I mean, I have a few kind of stories like that. So I have I don't want to use that word. I have my people who share it every time I put up a video, pretty much.
Your fans. Yeah. Your fans.
Yeah. That's, I'm not comfortable with that. I have people who share it regularly. Not necessarily every week, but I do have people who share it very regularly.
Yeah.
In saying that as well, probably the most interesting story around my video content being shared, I was speaking in May at WordCamp, and for those of you who don't know WordCamp, it's just a big nerd conference about WordPress, and I went there and I spoke about social media and in particular video content. And the keynote speaker there was Troy Dean, and I knew of Troy Dean through one of my old clients who was a big, and he'll be listening to this and he'll laugh. He's a big fangirl of Troy, and fanboy, I should say, not fangirl.
I was like, wait.
And that's how I knew about Troy, through him. And he's a big deal in the WordPress space. Anyway, like I said, he was keynoting, and he came to my talk when I did it, but before that, I introduced myself, and then we caught up outside again, and we're chatting for like 10 minutes, and then he just looked at me, and he was just like, "Wait, who are you?" And like I'd already introduced myself twice by that point, and he said, like, "Wait, who are you?" And I was like, and then he picked up my lanyard and looked at my lanyard and said, "Oh, you're 11 Lights Media." He's like, "I watch your videos."
Holy crap!
And I know for a fact that he doesn't follow me on any social media platform. So he's obviously seeing them because other people in my community are sharing them. And that was really, really cool for me because that led to an interaction where, I ended up writing a proposal for his newest business. And I didn't get the work, but we've since met up again. It wasn't good timing. And we met up again. We've talked about, perhaps if there's any opportunity to collaborate in the future as opposed to sort of me doing work for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So that was actually really valuable interaction. And although I don't have some cool story where I'm like, I got $1 million job at the end of it, that was one of like the stranger things where it's because of a certain amount of brand awareness that someone was able to even just recognize me.
But like that, on that note though, like you just said, like you're really busy with clients. Are you finding that the clients you're getting are because they're like, hey, you're all over the place, or they're going to your website because they need your service, and then they go to look for you, and then you're all over the place. They're like, it's like Grant Cardone was talking about it when he was like starting off. He does so much content. When people hear about him, they go to him, and then they see everywhere they put his name in. They're like, dude, you exist all over the place. I think that's when he got his TV show. So like for you, do you find it like the content itself just existing out there and floating gives you more, what's the word? Just presence, or like just makes you look bigger in value, and then like we have to talk to you because you know what you're doing and you are over the internet.
Yeah. So I'll answer that by saying this. One of the things I talk about when I speak, especially about video, is that basically I identified 3 end goals, 3 business objectives that every business kind of has at some level, and it's as to why you would even create content in the first place. So the 3 business objectives in my mind are: 1, brand awareness. So why do we create any content? So that people see us. The second one is authority. We want to basically become the expert in our space to our community, irrespective of whether that community is local or global. And the third one is we create content to drive sales. Now, all that content is some of it crosses over, some of it's different. If you're trying to make a sale, it's often different to an authority piece of content, for example.
Okay.
But the reason why I bring that up is because when I started creating content, for me, it was just about just getting my name out there, just being seen, being heard, being known, and so the people that come to me now, originally, a lot of them were saying, "Oh, I like sat there and watched all your videos," or that kind of thing. I've had, in terms of like, have I won work from those videos? I know that I've spoken twice off the back of those videos, like that. I've specifically been told they've watched my videos and then they want me to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but are they paid gigs? Can you say that at all, or like are you getting money for that, or are they paying for your flight to get there?
They were compensated. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But I mean, like I'm still fairly young in the market. Like if I've been around for 10 years, that's like a little bit different to like just starting out.
Well, let's say this. Let's say you were just kind of hanging out in Australia, and you were like, I have a lot of value, but this video thing is scary. I'm not going to do that. Would these opportunities have been put in front of you if you weren't like putting that stuff out there?
No, not at all.
So there you go. So like, it led to something.
Yeah,
it led to many things.
Absolutely. I think I think brand awareness is underrated because people don't see a direct ROI on it, and
yeah,
I actually think it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself, because one of the ways to win work and to have someone hand over cold hard cash into your hand is for them to trust you. And the fastest way to be trusted is to have a conversation with someone, right? I think I've actually got like a little documentation that my graphic designer did up for me, and it says the best way to have a conversation is go for a coffee. The second way is video, or something like that. It sounds really lame when I say it now, but it looks good with a little quotation mark around it. It also wasn't that, but it was something along those lines. And the point of it was that that it's the fastest way to gain trust with someone when you cannot sit down in a coffee shop with them, when you cannot sit down face to face. I mean, you even think about like our relationship and like the relationship I have with like a lot of you guys in that group. It's because we've spoken on video. It's because we've had all these opportunities to, like, how many times have we called each other up and talked about business? And there's plenty of people in that group that, like, Lee and I have done that. And yeah, so
that's the funniest thing, actually, because like everyone in the group except for the people that I've introduced, you know, friends of the past, like I've never physically been in the same place as like the majority of you guys. Like that's kind of that's another power of video in itself, where it's like this, where you could talk live and not talk at each other, where I'm just sending you a video of like, hey, I'm talking at you, and you send one back. It's like just that open door right there. I mean, I'm not telling anybody anything new right there. But all right, so I want to really dive into things you've done for clients in a strategy, like with strategy, where you've given a video to a client, said, all right, we're going to do this with this, and it came and you got results. Like, I want to be able to see people, have people watch this and go, oh, okay, like prime example, like Gary Vee, like he is utilizing the hell out of the Instagram swipe up. So what he does is he just does a lot of videos of himself, and he gives wallpapers, and he goes, and again, that feature's also not available for a lot of people. He'll be like, hey, check this out, but you got to swipe up. And it gets that people to take action right there. And another buddy of mine, his name's Charles Trippy. He's like 500 something days every single day documenting his life through YouTube. And he is in a band called We the Kings. And he uses Instagram, and he's like, hey, we have t-shirts for sale, swipe up. And they're like, oh, so you know that video is working because that's the only place he's putting in it. And it's like, hey, we have a sale for 24 hours because this video on stories is only 24 hours. So if you don't see this, you're screwed. And you know that the sale came directly from that. So for you, like, can you some experiences that you've had?
Well, if I can be entirely honest about it, most of the video content work that I do with clients, particularly at the moment, is brand awareness, because I do work with a lot of I kind of have it's a weird space. It's not terribly consistent, but I have a lot of people who've never kind of dabbled in that before ever. So
okay.
It's like a really scary territory.
Like who? Like who, for example? Like what kind of industry are they in?
So I have one at the moment in, I don't know what you call it. I would call it a retail industry. Okay. But they basically have, kind of like retail and service at the same time. So, they sell physical product, but they also sell repairs and things like that. Like okay. This is one of them that I'm thinking of, and they have a number of shops. We can call it shops. Places.
They have brick and mortar. They have brick and mortar places.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they've never, and a lot of brick and mortar businesses have never considered the idea of even blogging, let alone creating video content, right?
Yep.
So I've just started brand awareness with them, which is like, let's make you the preeminent X in your field, and we'll do that by starting to put out massively useful content. Like we'll film, you going around and showing what parts go where and what you can do in an emergency and all these kinds of things, because nobody else in that industry is doing it. The brick and mortar space is an interesting space at the moment, right? Because nobody is doing it. So if you start creating video content that is massively helpful, you're going to kick it out of the park. There's no way you won't. As long as you have a little bit of production value, your audio is good, you can kind of get away with fairly rubbish video.
Yeah, so go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, I know that's a terrible thing to say, but like if you've got an iPhone, and the reason I bang on about audio is because people will turn off a video faster if the audio is crap than they will if the video is crap. So,
really?
So I mean, provided that you've got good audio, you don't need a microphone. Like if you sit in a car and record, the acoustics for that are just phenomenal, and you don't need a microphone.
And Clay's been using that one boom mic that attaches to your iPhone, which I got to get.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing I get, because I'm traveling pretty much until mid-year creating content, and nice. I bought the iPhone 7 Plus because it's got the the depth of field feature with the 2 cameras, and then I'm going to get yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
really cool. So it's like I'm like in focus and that's all blurry. I love that. So I bought it for a reason.
So like, okay, so let's say that Brick and Mortar. Like, my idea is that I think a brick and mortar business is brilliant for doing video because they are stuck. They aren't moving anywhere. Their clients are within maybe 15-mile radius, depending on what you are. So your advertising, I mean, it blows my mind that no one does that, and they don't like super target their advertising. Like, build that email list and hit them, or just be like 15-mile radius of, you know, for me, Raleigh, North Carolina. Look, you know, guy 30 to 40 loves cars, and I'm like an auto shop. Like, I don't know, you know, but try that out with your ads, and then just put videos like, hey, you're probably gonna get stuck on the road. This is what you can do, and just like hit people with those videos. Yeah.
So I recently did a strategy. It was just strategy for this client. They heard me speak, and they commissioned me to do strategy for a business that was about to open. And so I did that for them. And one of the things I said, because they were they're in the health industry, and one of the things they do is sell coffee. And anybody in the coffee industry knows that, like, the coffee is one of those things where it costs like 20 cents to make, so their markup is like ridiculous. Yeah. Like, it's probably closer to $1 these days to make. But the point is that you don't lose any money making free coffee. And so one of the things that I put together for them was I ran through the back end of Facebook ads, and I showed them that what you can actually do is target via the time of day. So for coffee drinkers, you're looking between 5 and 9 in the morning, right? 5 and 8 in the morning. So you can put out an ad and just say, do you need your coffee hit? Do you need, like, even on the weekends, you could say, bring your spouse or bring your kid and you can have a free baby chino, or even though they're normally free, but bring a friend and you can have a coffee on the house and that kind of thing. I put a whole bunch of ideas together for them, but the idea that you can set it up to target at the right time of day is really, really powerful, because here's another thing with brick and mortar businesses. Oftentimes, especially if it's like a repeat purchase kind of brick and mortar business, like coffee, people establish a habit. So even if they're drinking crap coffee, they'll keep going back there because they're too afraid to try somewhere else. Because what if it takes longer? What if it's even worse? What if it costs more? What if
it's
it
out
burns?
of my way of going to my work?
Like, I've got my little park that I go into in the morning, or I know, like, for me, like, there's a chain over here called Gloria Jeans, and like I love Gloria Jeans, so I never want to say anything bad about them, but at the same time, I know that there's better coffee. I know, because I love coffee. However, the convenience of having a drive-through coffee is like, just the value of that is so much higher than better coffee for me.
So, like, let's say that. So in that sense, if you were doing their marketing, you'd be like, why don't you just take your camera out and drive in your car and drive up to it, get your coffee, and say, look, you can drive through and get your coffee. You know, like, show people how to actually do your service, and then, you know, get that content. But then the big thing is, like, okay, let's say that they have their outlet is Instagram. Like, what would you tell them to do if they were on Instagram, if they had video content like that?
Okay, so it's interesting, because that client I was just talking to you about, it was an Instagram strategy. So and I showed them Facebook ads, because obviously you can run Instagram ads as well. But if you're wanting to drive sales, like, that's the end goal of the video content that you're using, then you need a specific call to action in Instagram that you can't have anywhere else. So that whole swipe up feature is, I'm pretty sure that's not available to everyone.
No, it's
so
like the all-stars.
Yeah, so there's one place in Instagram where you can put a link out, right? And you can kind of put anything in that. So one thing I would do is I would make that a bit.ly link, because then it's trackable. You can see, okay, 200 people clicked on this, and only one person took action. There's something in the process is not working right. So, so I would do that. That would be the first thing I do. The second thing I do I would make it time sensitive, and then get rid of whatever that you put up that made it time sensitive. So if you put up a video and said, hey guys, come in today and tell us the magic word, which is like coffee.
Good old coffee.
Yeah. We'll give you a free cookie with your coffee or something like that. Again, bearing in mind the audience you're trying to bring in. Are you trying to just increase volume of like your current clientele, or are you trying to bring in new people? You always need a stronger offer when you're calling in new people, because they need to be really compelled to leave their old habit.
Right.
So I would do that, and I would have something that's measurable, right? So if you say to people, you have to come in and say coffee, 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 that's really measurable. And you can get super ghetto in store and just be like, every time someone says it, you can just tally it off on a Post-it note or something like that.
What if you reversed it? Like, what if you reversed it and said, all right, instead of having the camera on us, let's flip this on our audience and let's get them to do that. Be like, fine, for you to get this deal though, have something video that states like, for you to come in and do this, we have this deal. But they come and say, look, for you to get this though, you have to turn the camera on yourself, take a picture with us and the baristas or something like that, and then tag us. And so then all of a sudden they're sharing all this content and it's getting way more, exposure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, user-generated content is massively powerful. That was one of the strategies I gave that client as well. I said, one of the ways that people can maybe get their free coffee or whatever it is that they choose to offer would be to take a photo of themselves with basically the logo of the store at some level. And the other thing with Instagram is, because you can hashtag everything, you can make unique hashtags, and then on the back of that, you can. This is more about social media. This is less about video right now.
This is because this ties into video strategy, because because you're talking about, if you have this specifically on social media, it's a video. Yeah, it could be just an image, but video can be used this way, and people don't think like that. So go on.
Yeah. So if you create a unique hashtag, and your call to action is that these people have to put a video on their timeline, or tag themselves in a photo with something or something like that, by way of that unique hashtag, you can click on that in Instagram and you can see all the people come up with that have used that hashtag for the campaign. And then however you end up choosing a winner or whatever happens, I mean, the idea is that you've now got content for days.
Yeah.
People love having their stuff reposted. They love being praised, basically. Like, hey, I made this video and now the place that I made it for is sharing it. That's really freaking cool. Yeah. So that's something else to keep in mind. I mean, that's not really like, it's a little bit left of field of what we're talking about, but user-generated content is really, really powerful.
I don't think it is, because I think that it's taking a video. So let's say maybe it is like maybe you put out a video and you're like, the only way to know if this is working is to actually like share this video. Like but it has to be through Instagram. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not just about the video itself, it's how you can track how it's working. That's really what I want to get my clients. I just want to get people to understand. You talk about Bitly, that's a huge thing I tell people, because when you do a video or you do anything, it's like, go to our bio, click on our link, and it'll take them to a specific landing page. But it's like, only use that video on Instagram at this time, and only use that Bitly link there, because that shows you exactly that video did this and it tracked this. If it got to your page and they didn't do anything, that's on you. But the video itself got them to do that. And you could test it, do that, and also have an image and see, where are we getting more engagement?
Yeah, totally. And I've done the same thing. on Facebook. So with one of my clients, we made a video, and it's for the month of November, and basically wanted people to go to the website and call them. Like, it was a pretty good offer, but we're since redesigning the website because we had a whole bunch of clicks and not one person took action. And
why do you think that?
That was down to the website, I can tell you right now.
What was missing on the website?
Oh, it was an old website. It was not mobile optimized. It's busy. There was a lot. I just don't want them to ever see this and be offended.
Oh, no. I don't want to dive into that sense. I would say, like, for other websites, like, maybe, I don't know, like, would you recommend that they have like a video there, or they have just to keep it simple, make it one page with just like 2 things to do? I mean, again, this is like kind of a bigger conversation, but
It depends on what you're doing. Honestly, it depends on what you're doing. So
yeah, we could break away from that though.
I
I don't
think
want to
if
get
you
you in trouble.
I think if you're recruiting, you make it complicated, and I think that if you're wanting people to buy, you make it as simple as possible. That whole thing I just told you about, that whole idea and everything, that was not mine.
Yeah.
I just executed from a social media perspective because they had business input elsewhere, so they created all that without me. But I just did it. I just executed from the social media standpoint. But I just thought it was interesting. They're like 200 clicks or something, and they're quite a niche space. So like we weren't expecting thousands of clicks, but they had a lot of clicks and not one phone call. So I had a big long chat to them about that because I think there was a number of reasons. One of them being their website, but there's a whole bunch of reasons. But this is why using something like social media is really, really good for that, and using something like Facebook and Instagram ads where the spend is so low that it can actually inform you and educate you about things in your business that may actually be a bit off kilter and you need to address. So if people are going to the website and they're not clicking, do you need to redo your website? Perhaps you do. Perhaps something's not straightforward, and we can learn all this from a few dollars, basically.
Yes.
So that's a whole different conversation again, but I'm just saying, like, I just think it's interesting that we can deduce those kinds of things just from a very small ad spend. But the other thing, back to what we were talking about before, when you said that, when I was telling you about the thing about coffee and how you can kind of time restrict it, so to speak. I think that is really, really powerful for local businesses, not just time restriction, but anybody who is a local business and only a local business. And I'm just circling back to this because I want local businesses to really pick this up. If you create a bit of content and it gets a little bit of traction, like you kind of look at it and go, that's odd, I've got like a few more extra comments on this one, or the comments on this one happen really quickly, or a few more extra likes, or like maybe this one got shared and the other ones don't ever get shared. Put money behind that. Put $5 behind it. You don't need to be putting $10,000 behind something. Put $5 behind it and target it to the people in your area. And again, figure out a way to track it.
So let's say so they have a video and they just put it out on their Facebook page. It got engagement. Just boost it with $5 behind it for like a day, because that was like really all you can do is a day.
Yeah.
Just boost it. Don't make it an ad. Just boost it.
That's a whole
It's just giving people ideas. You don't have to say like this isn't like law. This is just like you could do this.
I say boost it because the majority of people don't have the knowledge in the area to go and create an ad out of this and do it the right way.
So don't overcomplicate it.
Yes. Okay. And for $5, it doesn't matter. For a bigger campaign, I wouldn't put $100 behind a boost or anything like that, because you always spend more on a boost. But for the sake of like jumping on the bandwagon that's going like this at the time, I would just put $5 behind it and boost it, because it's simple. As you can do it from your phone. It's very simple.
So okay, here's a question. So my idea of recording this is to get people to just understand the power of video, because if people understand video, then they want to buy from me, they want to buy from you, like you give them value. What do I do with it?
Yeah. So essentially at the end of the day, this is the objective behind this is driving sales. It's not a sale, it's conversion. But it's the same concept. You're wanting people to take action on something that you've created.
Right.
Okay. So that's a whole different thing. Like if you're wanting to do that, I mean, unless you do all of the, and I would call them obvious only because it's you. I'm not trying to be patronizing to anybody else, but putting it out in the places where you think the right people are going to see it on Facebook and things like that. You create something, you put it on YouTube, you put it on Facebook, you cut it down, you put 15 to 60 seconds on Instagram, you cut it down, you put it on Twitter, you put it anywhere that will take video, put it on LinkedIn, put it on there natively. But then I would if you're really wanting to drive traffic, I would put it through the Facebook ad, and I would target like the people that you're wanting to target and drive them back to that page and have, I mean, Facebook track all that kind of stuff for you, so you don't need any way to actually physically track that because they tell you. But I mean, you know, download your LinkedIn contacts and make them a custom audience in your Facebook ad backend.
I always forget about that. You can export your LinkedIn contacts. That's a good one. So you could take them, download them as a CSV, upload that to a Facebook ad, and target them directly.
Yeah, custom audience. And then if that audience is big enough, it probably won't be because people's LinkedIn's aren't that big. But if it gets that place where there's enough people, then you can create lookalike audiences off the back. And if your LinkedIn contacts are quite targeted, like I'm pretty anal about who I let friend me on LinkedIn these days. I don't just pick anyone.
Yeah.
So if you're quite targeted and quite just connecting basically with people you want to work with, then if you can create a lookalike audience off the back of that in Facebook ads, that can become quite powerful.
What are your thoughts about, like, if you see people engaging a lot with your LinkedIn profile? Because you could see who's actually liking a lot of stuff. And I don't know if you can keep seeing that or if that disappears in the ether. I think you can. But, like, why not? So if you had something like this, be like, hey, I see you like a lot of my stuff. I did this video on more stuff. I just figured you might want to check it out. Like, just send it to them. I don't know if it's, like, kind of creepy. Like, hey, I'm seeing through all this. You're doing this. Like, you know, I don't know what is the non-creepy way to say, like, technology shows me that you're seeing this, so here you go. And they're like, whoa, what the fuck?
I honestly think you're better off not saying anything at all because it does freak people out. However, if you were looking at buying a boat and...
Which I am.
Of course you are. If you were looking at buying a boat and somebody had put that content in front of you and then you started seeing that in the form of ads and then maybe like in a week or something someone actually called you and said, would you like to buy a boat? That's powerful. And they're going to deduce that you got that from targeting and stuff like that. But it's better than, but I think it's better unsaid than to say, hey, you got some creepy pixels on you.
Yeah.
And we're just following you around the internet. You know what I mean?
I'm tracking your movement through Facebook Pixel and MailChimp Pixel or whatever that is.
I think you're better off just targeting people because instead of them overthinking the psychological process, they'll go, oh, hey, I was looking at that the other day. I might buy that now. Or, oh, I've been totally thinking about how I can market with video. I'll look at that right now. It's all about it's about what does you know, Daniel and Brian, and they have their Smack Talk show. They both always say something like it's the right time the right place, the right time,
the right stockage.
I can't remember what they say. I really shouldn't quote people. I butcher everything. You can cut that out.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping it all in. You were staying straight in. Hey, I don't have Snapchat. I've yet to sign up for Snapchat. I can't. I like Instagram. I feel like Instagram is kind of like the old man version of things now, but it's annoying because all it is pictures of cats doing weird things and someone go, when your bae is like this in the morning and you like this, and I'm like, the fuck am I looking at?
Yes, that's why. No, I think
I think I like too many of them, and then Instagram's like, you want to see this? I'm like, I don't want to see this anymore. So why did I like that one thing? Now it's an asshole.
I think regarding Instagram versus Snapchat, I mean, I made a video a long time ago that basically said, do you need to be on Snapchat? And it was like highly controversial at the time.
People were like, what?
Yeah, because I was like, you don't need to be on Snapchat. And I would still argue that point. I don't think I've made the video yet because I said in that video, like, if the time comes, I will make a new video and I'll say, right, now you need to be on Snapchat. The only reason I've told people to do it is just to secure their handle if they want it. But in terms of like a business who wants to make money, you need to go to where you need to go to where your audience is, right? And I know that the audience is climbing on Snapchat. However, that audience is also still in other places. And when you've got things like a solid ad back end and a way of targeting and a way of measuring and a way of being discoverable, you're far better off putting your energy into that now, because marketing is not easy. It's not an easy process. So for somebody to have all of this at their basically on a silver platter, you've got data out the wazoo, which means you can target people. Like I said, you can be found, you can hashtag, you can track, you can do all these things, and then you have this platform that's basically made it almost impossible unless you've got 100K to drop on there's a story part that's all branded content. Right. So unless you're a big player, a big brand, you really can't advertise on there. And I know you can do other things to drive sales, and I know you can do it, but it's complicated. It's not easy. And that's not saying it's not worth doing at some point, but I think if you haven't exhausted all of your other possibilities and you haven't put time into Instagram or Facebook or exporting your LinkedIn contacts and trying to create lookalike audiences and doing these kinds of things, if you haven't done that, then I think you'd be wasting your time going to something like Snapchat, where you've literally got to reinvent the wheel to get the same traction that you could get on another platform that's going to be a lot less time consuming.
With all these social media outlets, everyone gets so confused because they're like, I have to do all this. Like, no, you don't. Just where's your audience live? And just start small. Just do things. Or if you do a video, pick up your phone, point it on yourself and say, I'm talking to the camera right now. I don't really know where this is going, but I'm going to just keep doing it. Your first video is going to be shit. But by the time you get to number 4, you're going to start figuring out how to hold the camera, how it's going to sound, how you're going to edit it. Like you did this when you started doing video. You were posting in the group. You're like, I spent 10 hours cutting down to a 2-minute video or something, or 10-minute video. And I'm like, that's that. And people come to me, why does it cost so much to make video? I'm like, here's an editing program. Here's a camera. Go to town.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just do the small things first. Like when I started doing my vlog, I was like, I just pick up my phone. I did a video. I uploaded it to YouTube, and I just put it out there. I said, I did a vlog. And the next day I was like, oh, I want an icon. So I opened up Photoshop and made a template, and I had I need tags. Everything started to get answered right away. And then I made a list of what do I talk about these things, in the morning. Granted, the last week, because of the holidays, I kind of broke off of it. But it was just turn it on and do it. And no one can really tell you what's going to happen. It's you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So for the sake of time, I'm going to cut this off. However, is there anything you want to plug right now?
So I'm speaking at Social Media Marketing World in March in San Diego. And I use that to lead into the fact that if you want me to speak about video or social media, you can hit me up on my website, or just email me at sarah@11lightsmedia.com.au, because I do love speaking, as you can tell. And I have an Australian accent, which seems to please people. So
it's awesome.
I can just be that little bit of quirkiness you're looking for. But that's kind of what I want to plug, because I can't take on any more work right now. Let's be real.
All right, that is the show, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you said, yes, Mike, I certainly did, then please message any of your marketing friends and tell them what cool tips you learned that could possibly benefit their lives and make them want to listen to this podcast. Also, check out drive80.com if you are struggling to explain what your company does. We accomplish this in a minute or so with animation. If you have any questions, please send me an email at mike@drive80.com. I'd love to hear some feedback. Tell me what you like. Tell me the things I could fix to really just make these episodes better, really give you guys a lot of value, because, again, that is the point. I really want to be very focused on this, so you're listening to it. Every time you hear it, there's something new, and it really, you could take an action with it right there and grow your business or grow your clients' businesses, which will then help you grow your business because they'll want to pay you more. Again, Mike Doyle, drive80.com. Go in peace.